So yesterday we started with this particular thing, right? What is that? Impulse. So what is that impulse, by the way? Impulse is this particular signal. At 0, it is 1. In all other places, it is 0. Okay. Represented by delta. Represented by delta n for discrete time. It's a signal meant for convenience. Okay, let us understand. By the way, how did we derive the thing in the continuous time? We showed you what actually impulse means. Impulse actually means, the same meaning what you mean in general English. Okay, it is, input applied for a very brief interval of time, and its approximation was done with a rectangular wave. What's the deal with the rectangular wave, by the way? Rectangular wave is one which will have, both the values symmetric. Rectangular wave is an even wave which is having symmetric width. The width on the left side of a rectangular wave and on the right side of the rectangular wave, they are going to be same. So this impulse was this rectangular wave whose area inside the wave, inside this particular envelope was 1, and whose width, by the way, this particular width was tending towards 0. Okay. That was the approximation of impulse. As and when the width kept on reducing, the height kept on increasing, but the amount of the area still stood same. That is why this 1 is called magnitude, not amplitude sometimes. Okay. So that was the impulse. Okay, that was that interesting derivation of impulse, right? Okay. Yeah, this figure, right? This is what that thing meant. Okay. So finally, this is the thing. See the definition of an impulse here. For discrete time, the definition is very simple. Whereas for continuous time, the definition is little tricky. Let me show you how it has been defined in continuous time. In continuous time, the impulse is defined with two expressions. Impulse is defined with these two expressions. First expression says that it is 0 for t not equal to 0. 0 for t not equal to 0. Understood? Okay. On left side also it is 0. On all the right side it is 0. Second thing is the area under the curve. If you integrate over the entire time, it's going to be 1. That means they don't want to tell that at t equal to 0, it is 1. They are telling that this width is becoming very, very smaller. Okay. As I told you, once again for mathematical convenience. So, okay, once again for mathematical convenience. So today what we will do, yes, by the way, impulse is also related to the unit step. Okay. What was the earlier relationship with the ramp, by the way? I told you earlier that differentiation of a ramp, remember, differentiation of a ramp is a step. R of t, right? R of t equal to t. That was the ramp that we are talking about. Differentiation of a ramp was a step. Okay. And differentiation of a step is going to be your impulse. On the contrary, integration of a impulse should give you a step. Of course, with the difference of that constant. Okay. Of course, with that difference that of a constant. Okay. So this is the thing. Are you getting why it is so? Now suppose I have this particular step function here. You can see the changes. Is it changing, by the way? Is the step function changing on this particular left side from minus infinity to 0? Somebody tell me. What I have drawn here is a unit step u of t. Now tell me, is it changing in the left side from minus infinity to 0? Are there any changes? Somebody? From minus infinity to 0, are there any changes in a unit step? Are there any changes in the unit step? No. From 0 onwards, here on the right side, here also, are there any changes, by the way? It's 1 only, right? Till infinity. So that's why differentiation indicates the changes with respect to time. So no change on the left side, no change on the right side. Exactly at 0, there is a sudden change. That's why they say differentiation of a unit step is a impulse. Okay. Differentiation of unit step is a impulse, and integration of impulse shall be unit step, vice versa thing. Now today let us see where do we use this particular impulse thing, okay, and the properties of impulse, okay, and the properties of impulse. What are the properties? Let us see here. Very interesting one. Okay, what is the first property? Impulse is even function of time. Are we convinced with this particular thing? How did we derive the impulse, by the way? See here, impulse has been derived as a limiting function of a rectangular pulse, right? Now see this particular rectangular pulse. As and when this width of the rectangular pulse, as and when this vector went towards 0, what we got was a impulse, right? As and when this width tended towards 0, we got an impulse. But still, the thing was evenly spread on both the sides, right? The symmetry was still retained, right? So basically, an impulse is nothing but a rectangular pulse whose width is 0, okay, tending towards 0. So we can say this particular thing is also even function of time. So delta of minus t is equal to delta t, okay. So the first property of an impulse, okay, first property of impulse. An impulse is a even function of time, okay. What is the second thing, by the way? Shifting property. What does this property say? If at all I multiply a shifted impulse with some sequence x of t and integrate, of course, I am going to get the value of x of t at that instant only. Convincing. Let us try to understand. Let me use this space here. Let me use this space here. Say I have a signal. Say I have a signal which is something like this. Okay. Say this is my x of t. Say this is my signal x of t. Okay. And if at all I multiply this signal, okay. Say I want to know the value of this signal at, say, t equal to, let me take a value, what, t naught or 3. Say I want to know what exactly is the value at 3. Well, what is the value, by the way, at 3? This amplitude, okay. This is the amplitude at 3. So what I will do is I will multiply this x of t with the impulse. What sort of impulse, by the way? Not here, okay. So I multiply t with a impulse here, okay. Say impulse is, where do I see? This is the impulse. What is this impulse? How do I represent it? See, this is delta. This is impulse, but not at origin, right? Delta t minus 3. Okay. Now tell me, if at all I multiply x of t with delta t minus 3, what do I get as a result? What do I get? If at all I multiply this signal x of t with delta t minus 3, what do I get? Anybody? Any guesses?
X of 3.
We will get, yes, we will get exactly x of 3, right? We will get x of 3 only. Okay. So from integration, see, this minus infinity to infinity thing comes from part of the definition. What is important from this property is, if at all you multiply x of t with delta t minus t naught, if at all this t naught is 3, I will get the value at 3. Okay, see, in this case, this t naught value is 3. I got x of 3. If this t naught is 25, I get the value of x of t at t equal to 25. Okay. It's a means of sampling a continuous time signal at a particular instant. Okay. That is the shifting property of a impulse. Okay. That is the shifting property of a impulse. You take a shifted impulse, you multiply it with a signal, it is going to give you the value at that particular instant. Okay. That is the meaning of this second property, the time shifting property of an impulse. First one was, yeah, this was also convincing. What is this third property? What's going to happen if at all we scale an impulse. What's going to happen if at all we scale an impulse? Okay, see, there is this A, right? What's going to happen? Let us see. Let us see what author says, by the way. Scaling an impulse is going to result in a delta T only divided by the scaling factor. Divided by the scaling factor. Let us see. What does it mean actually? So here is a diagram. Here is a diagram. Okay. So this is a typical impulse, and this is how it has been derived, right? An impulse has been derived as a rectangular pulse whose width delta is tending towards 0. Okay. So why this 1 by delta here, by the way? So this is a box. See, this is a box. This is the length of the box. This is the height of the box. If at all you multiply, the area should be 1. That is why delta into 1 by delta. Cool, right? That is 1. Okay, that is why the amplitude is 1 by delta. The width is delta. Okay. Now, if at all, I scale this by factor A. Scale this by factor A. Irrespective whether A is greater than 1 or less than 1. Anyway, the width is going to reduce by factor A, right? See here, the width is going to reduce by factor A. Okay, the width has reduced by factor A. Height has remained unchanged. Height has remained unchanged. Now, can you tell me that this is an impulse, by the way? If at all I want to represent this particular pulse here, as an impulse, how should I do it? Is it an impulse, by the way? What is an impulse? Impulse is the rectangular pulse whose area is 1, width tending to 0. But area should be 1. See here, now that you scale this particular thing, the area has become 1 by A. The area has become 1 by A. Now, how should I make up for this? So I want to represent this in terms of impulse. I shall multiply this with A, so that the area once again shall become 1. Okay. So that the area once again shall become 1. From this particular logic only, this third property, the third property has been derived. Okay. So you can see here, time scaling. Okay. So this was that particular figure. You do the time scaling. So what's going to happen? The area is going to become 1 divided by A from the second figure, original figure, time scaled figure. Then you have to restore, right? You have to make this thing as 1 only by multiplying with A. That is where this has 1. Okay, that is where this A has come in, because of which now you have your time scale signal x of AT, which is nothing but delta AT, being represented also as 1 by A into delta T. Okay, 1 by A into delta T. So these are the three factors, these are the three properties that are very important for impulse. Usually this property here, the time scaling property, usually is asked, as a small derivation or something. You just have to draw those 3 figures and write those statements. Okay, you should draw those figures and write those statements usually. Okay, and the second property, by the way, is very much important to me, because it indicates the means of sampling a continuous time signal. As I told you, there are lots and lots of samples. Okay, sampling in the sense you can do it on, doing it on pen and paper is easy, but when you have to do it on a computer, you need some sort of representation. That is where this impulse thing is going to come in very handy. Okay, so that was the third signal, by the way. That was the third signal, by the way. That was an impulse. Okay. So what are the elementary signals that we studied, by the way, till now? What are the elementary signals we studied till now? Somebody? One by one, get started. Which are the elementary signals? Let us quickly revise the signals, whatever that we have studied as of now. Somebody, which are the elementary signals that we studied? Aisha, Umema, can you tell me one elementary signal that we studied till now?
Exponential signal.
Yes, we studied exponential signals, then darshan, then what else did we study? After exponential, what else did we study? We have
Sinusoidal signal.
sinusoidal signals. Yes, then
Growing continuous signal.
yes, then
Discrete signals. Discrete signals.
discrete time, which one? So we studied exponential, we studied sinusoids, we studied complex sinusoids, then we studied unit step, impulse, and ramp. Okay, then we studied unit step, impulse, and ramp. Okay, so these are the signals that we studied. Okay, so that ends the classification of signals, the kind of mathematical operations performed on signals, and also the various elementary signals. Okay, so now what we will be doing, we will be moving to the different types of classifications of systems. Okay, before that, let us see one or two things, how impulse responses can be used for representation. Okay, say I want to represent this particular signal. Let me take a red marker here. Say I want to represent a discrete time thing, one, and minus. Okay, let me draw this. Okay, say I have a signal here, x of n. Okay, so what is the deal with this? See, at 0 it is 1, at 1 it is 1, at 2 it is 1, at minus 3 it is 1, at 3 it is 0, at 4 say it is minus 2. Okay, 4 it is minus 2. So one of the advantage of impulse is it can be used to represent any kind of signals. Now let me do this effort here. Now what I will do is I can represent this signal x of n as, which are the properties that I have studied? The shifting property, right? I know the shifting property. So, see here, this thing here, what is this thing? Somebody tell me, what is this thing? What does it resemble, by the way? See here, that thing is 0, 1 at 0, right? Having an amplitude of 1 at 0. So can I call this thing as delta n? That first sample there, I will call it as delta n. Okay. Now look at this thing here. Now look at this thing here. That also resembles delta n, right? What is the difference, by the way, between the first signal and the second signal? It also represents delta n. Okay, because it is having an amplitude of 1. What is the difference, by the way?
It's time scale to 1.
It is shifted, right? It is now at 1. So that is why what I will do is I will call it as delta n minus 1. Okay, delta n minus 1. Okay, earlier I told you, if at all I multiply x of n with the delta n minus 1, I am going to get anyway. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to understand this utility of an impulse, where using impulse you can represent any kind of signals. In continuous time it is difficult. That's why I'm doing it in discrete time. So will somebody be a sport and tell me what is the next symbol? This one?
Delta n minus 2.
Delta n minus 2.
Delta n minus 2. Okay. Now what about the value at 4? What is the difference? It's also shifted.
Magnitude minus 2.
Magnitude. So that's what we will do to make up for the magnitude. Let me introduce a minus 2. Delta n minus 4. Okay. Now what about this guy here?
Plus delta n plus 3.
Delta n plus 3. Okay. Got this particular thing. So this is how we can represent this particular signal in terms of impulses. Okay, this is how we can represent the signal in terms of impulses. Okay. What else can we do, by the way? Yeah, the differentiation example, right? Let us take that. Okay, everybody got this particular thing. I did not want to do a continuous time signal, by the way, contains infinite samples. Okay, so that's why I cannot do it in terms of sum. Rather, they are used in terms of integration. Very difficult to illustrate diagrammatically. Okay. Now let us take an example here. Let me take this. This particular one box here. Okay. This box here. Okay. So this box is say x of t. Now I want you to tell me, we will try to differentiate this particular thing. Let me say the amplitude here is 1. Say this is -3 and say this is +3. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll try to differentiate this. We'll try to differentiate this. So this can be differentiated in two means. Okay. By applying common sense, that is one. Second one is by using expressions. Okay. Let us try to apply common sense first. Okay. What do you say? Is there any change here by the, somebody tell me, yeah. Is there any change from -infinity till -3? Is there any change in the amplitudes? Let us try to differentiate this. Okay, let us try to differentiate this. What is differentiation? Differentiation is rate of change of things with respect to time. Okay, differentiation of rice is a big number because the price of rice is increasing rapidly. Differentiation of a sunflower oil, right, is very high because it keeps on increasing. Okay, okay. Is there any change, by the way, till -3? No.
No.
Is there any change in this segment here? No.
No.
Is there a change from +3 onwards? No. Where is the change, by the way? Here is a change, right? The change is positive. Remember, say the change is positive. And what is the change, by the way? And the magnitude is 1, right? So here we'll have an impulse with strength of 1 at -3. Now, can you tell me here what is happening? Here, what is happening? What do we get here? At this location, will somebody give it a try? Here we have a magnitude increasing, right? That is why I have an impulse that was positive. Okay, here. Somebody, Ihab, what do you say? What do you say here?
Decrease.
Magnitude decreasing.
-1. Okay, got this particular thing. So I told you earlier, differentiation of a step is an impulse. Here you can see with diagrams, we have concluded that it is a sort of true, right? So this is a fun way of using this differentiations. Okay. Now similarly, let us try to. Now yesterday we did an exercise, right, of representing this kind of wave in terms of unit step. So do you remember that? Can you represent this x of t in terms of unit step? How do I do it actually? This thing we see here, it is a step, right? So I don't know whether you have seen yesterday or not. This is, I told you it as u of t plus 3. I told you that it is u of t plus 3 minus u of t what? Minus 3. Okay.
3.
Now, if at all I differentiate this expression also here, say d by dt of this, okay, d by dt of this, what do I get here? So what I get is the u of t plus 3, the differentiation is, what is this? This is delta t plus 3. See, this impulse here is nothing but delta t plus 3, right? So using expression also, I will get the same thing, okay. Differentiation of a unit step is a impulse. Here also I will get delta t plus 3. Differentiation of u of t minus 3. What do I get there? If at all I differentiate this also, I will get, see there is a minus sign here, right? This is minus sign there. And what I will get is delta t minus 3. Okay. So what I'm telling is you do not actually have to mug up or something. All these things are If at all you use little common sense, it's much more convincing. Okay, that was about impulses and using impulses to represent any sort of signal and how differentiation and integrations can be utilized. Now, similarly, should we try this thing here? Wait a second. Should I draw it straight once again? Okay. -4 -3 3 4. Okay. Now will you differentiate this? Will somebody differentiate this and to me and tell me what's going to happen here? Will somebody differentiate this? Will somebody differentiate this and tell me? See here, from -3 to +3, is there any change in the amplitude? From -3 to +3, is there any change in the amplitude?
No.
No, this remains 0. Okay, this remains 0 from here to here. Now you can see here, what is the change in the amplitude? At what rate is the amplitude changing? You can see for a unit change in time, the amplitude has increased by 1. So the slope of this is 1. Remember, see, this is nothing but a ramp. So differentiation of a ramp is a step. Do you agree here? Say at -4, what is the value? 0. At -3, the value is 1. Can you guess what is the value at -3.5? Can you guess what is the value at 3.5?
0.5.
0.5, right?
0.5.
Okay. At the -3.25, it is 0.75. So the height divided by width. See, if at all I take the height here, what is the change in height? 0.5. Okay. Change in height is 0.5. Change in width is how much? -3.5 -4. This also is 0.5. So what is the ratio? It is 1 only, right? So I get a unit step here. So as told earlier, differentiation of a ramp is a step. Here for a change, what's going to happen? The amplitude is decreasing. That is why I have a unit step only, but with negative amplitude. Okay. Got this particular thing? Now I think Shivanand sir's class is lined up next, right? So let me stop this thing here. Next class we will start systems. Okay. Systems also very interesting. And I have given you a small task. Okay. Keep an open mind. Try all those numericals with a free mind. Okay. And I have given you the solution manual. The answers are there. You try for 15 minutes, 1 hour or 2 hours. If at all you do not get answers, then only go and see the solutions. Okay. Till then, be true to yourself and try those. Okay. Very interesting problems. Use common sense. There are problems which can be solved using expressions. There are problems that can be solved using graphical method. Okay. Some of the problems use these kind of things. The common sense. Okay. Everybody give it a try. Okay. Everybody give it a try. Okay.
Sir,
Thanks for joining the class. Okay. Let me.
Sir,
Yeah.
About the ramp, continuous ramp function, I didn't understand that. Like where you said you teach it.
The ramp thing, give it a try. Today, read the textbook also once again. Okay. We'll do it. We will have a detailed, all those problems we will solve once again. I just want you to know. I want to know how comfortable you are with all those signals. Okay. You do your little part of homework. Then we will solve all the problems. Okay. Interactively. Go through them, by the way, by tomorrow. Okay. By tomorrow, go through all those problems. Okay. By putting your effort at some nominal effort. Okay. Okay. Let me.
So tomorrow we have to show you.
No. You have to do it. Okay. As I told you, I have announced something, right? So anyway, okay. Let me end this thing here. Bye.